A lot of you guys have probably been wondering, Agamatsu, why hasn't there ever really been any talks about a new Luminant ever? Even as we're approaching Conquest, Void Tower, and all these other things coming out, we still have barely any information about a possible Luminant and a central Luminant coming out pretty much ever. So what's the big deal? Today I'm here to inform you about basically everything I've kind of gathered together based on statements and things I've also heard personally, right? And I think the biggest issue with the Central Luminant ever coming to the game is the fact that there really isn't a good reason for it to exist. Now, I know what you guys may be thinking. Agamatsu. What? They could add new oaths, new origins, new monsters, new enchants, all this new content to the Central Luminant so it can have things to do and things to explore and things to get. But I think the biggest concern here is the fact that it would take a lot of dev time to really flesh out the Central Luminant. When you think of the Central Luminant, even in the lore, it's probably the biggest landmass ever. Like, they have to build a lot, right? And that's not to say that they don't have incredible builders that can, you know what I'm saying, do some sort of thing that makes it super incredible to explore to begin with. But the thing is that, the way I look at it is that Layer 2, a closed dungeon, right? Not open world, a dungeon, straightforward, story mode, basically. This update took about a year to drop, right? And then we're going to talk about Central Luminant, a giant new Luminant to explore. Think about it. Think about everything we have in our current Luminant and then that being replicated, basically, in terms of content size, into a brand new Luminant for everyone to explore. It will take an extreme amount of time, and the content that you'll actually want to get from it, the new oaths, the new origins, all that sort of stuff, right? That could probably be put into other places in the game, and that's the philosophy I believe they have, that it could be probably put into dungeons and or other things. That way it doesn't take as much dev time. I also think they want to make stuff that actually lasts longer in terms of its replayability. If you kind of had like a story mode in Central Luminant, let's just say that's the main content, right? After you play it maybe once or maybe twice, right? Maybe 3 times if you're really feeling it, that's kind of it. When you play a story-based game, you're kind of done after the first playthrough most of the times. What they're really trying to go for, I think, in the future is adding in content that you can go back and play and still enjoy even after you've played it once. That's what I'm seeing here mainly. Another main concern is that they don't really want the Central Luminant, if it ever did come out, to basically overtake the Etrian and Eastern Luminant. They don't want it to be like the new spot everyone goes to, because guess what? Like, if that's all they're really, do you see the issue, right? They don't want it to be like in GPO when they drop something else. Well, now you can go from power 20 to power 30, right? They don't want that to happen no matter what. They don't want to really increase the power levels because it'll become more tedious to make max builds, more leveling. People don't necessarily really want that. I know some of you guys probably do, right? But they're trying to think in the long term, I guess you could say, right? And I can definitely understand it. I don't really want to sit there going over to progress my build at power 30, and that would probably lead to even more builds being unbalanced, even though the game is pretty unbalanced as is. There's a lot of issues, and it's probably really tough for them to really even like conceptually think of a way to implement the Central Luminant without it just being a big waste of time, because the content that we can get from that Central Luminant could probably be added in faster through other mediums. So in my opinion, I don't think the Central Luminant will come in a very long time, if not at all. Unfortunately, I personally don't think it will probably come out maybe when I'm like 26, 27. That maybe when it comes out, maybe when they have the entire squad together, because they have a team that's already like split up, you know what I'm saying? People working on other different games, right? And maybe if they had the entire squad together and then they like went ham on it for like many months at it. But for now, the way I look at things, it's just a big task ahead, and we need to first handle the smaller things like Conquest, World Events, Void Tower. I think once we can see how these play out, perhaps maybe one day we will actually get a Central Luminant to drop. I hope so. I really hope that one day it really does drop, and everything I'm saying here is just BS because it drops, you know, hey, it came out, right? But for the foreseeable future, I just don't really see it coming. That's just my personal take on it, and that's about it. See ya.